everyone, how are we today? Just doing a all signs reading today, and we are going to be looking at your person's energy. Okay, this is going to be like a cross watcher read though, so you probably do want to watch the sign that your person is rather than your sign. Okay, so we're going to be looking at their red flags, the things that they're hiding from you. Okay, so like I said, cross watch a read, so do watch your person's sign rather than your own. Sometimes if we are watching our own sign, it can be a little bit confronting because it's going to be showing your red flags and your hidden truths. Okay, so be aware of that if you are going to watch your own sign as well. Okay, not trying to upset anybody or anything like that. I do just read the cards. Okay, please like and subscribe to the channel. I do really appreciate all your support. As always, you will sort of see me taking time stamps, but I will be starting today with Libra. And I am actually using the red hand lenormand. I find the extra, it's got quite a few extra cards in this deck, and it is a little bit more insightful when it comes for the more negative, red flag type messages. But I do also have the hidden truths love oracle as well. All right, see what we can get from that in regard to these people. Okay, so like I said, make sure we are watching your person's sign rather than your own. All right, but starting off today with Libra. How are we today? Okay, so looking at Libra and their red flags. What are Libra's red flags, please? What are Libra's red flags? Okay, so straight away we're seeing the moon come out. So this Libra, they are probably a little bit very emotionally sensitive. Okay, the moon is all about emotional sensitivity. So there's probably something to do with, they may be very quick to react when it comes to their feelings about things. They may be quick to anger, that sort of a thing. We are also seeing the coffin. Okay, so this person does tend to, I'm actually reading this in two different ways. Okay, so some of these Libras hold on to things too much. They find it really hard to close out the past and move forwards from the past stuff. They get a bit stuck in the past energy. So for a lot of these Libras, they may be sort of stuck on stuff that's happened to them in the past and putting that on you, and past relationships may still be very affecting their feelings, especially with that moon there. Their feelings and reactions do come strongly from things that have happened in the past. They find it hard to move on from the past. All right, but for some of these Libras, what I'm actually getting here is that they end things too quickly. So some of these Libras are sort of, they have trouble ending things, but others of these Libras end things too quickly, and they're kind of like, oh, that's not working, close the lid on that, move on. That doesn't work, close that, break away from that, end that, move on. So some of them do sort of, it's just the way that they have endings and new beginnings in their life. Some of them do sort of dwell on those endings, whereas others of them, end things before it's actually ready to be ended. They're kind of trapped in this cycle of endings and new beginnings, and they're not able to actually, stabilize, in the middle of that. They're kind of, the sort of person that probably, if they end a relationship, they're moving on to the next relationship very, very quickly without having dealt with, the ending completely before they're on to that new beginning is kind of what I'm getting there. We also do have the dog card has come through for this Libra as well. So issues with loyalty. All right, straight away with that dog issue, issues with loyalty. There may be friends that they may put their friends first as well. So that's pretty simple when it comes to this person's red flags. They may sort of prioritize friendships as more important than other relationships in their life, and then for some of them there is issues of loyalty. So that can be to do with the friendships as well. They're kind of someone who lives very much in that, it's that bros before hoes type mentality. It does feel as though they're loyal to that rather than any relationships that come their way, regardless of gender. Flip that around to whatever you need to in regard to the gender there. But it's that sort of mentality where they're kind of like, oh, my friends always come first. I'll go hang out with the friends instead of spending actually quality time at home with my partner, and that's sort of a vibe. Okay, so just be aware of those things with this Libra. Okay, this Libra's hidden truth. The hidden truth of Libra. The hidden truth of Libra. You and I were too young. Okay, so this person is still very immature in the way that they're looking at relationships. Okay, they're kind of feeling they're kind of that. I'm getting that young, dumb, and full of that sort of saying coming through. But very immature with the way that they're emotionally attaching to commitments and those sorts of things. They may be sort of talking the talk and walking the walk, but they are still within their emotional self. They are quite young, immature. They're just not well versed in mature relationships and how mature relationships grow. They act very immaturely when it comes to relationships. You speak to me through music. Okay, so that's a bit of a rough one when it comes to this Libra's hidden truth, because it's kind of like they read too much into things that may not actually have any impact on the connection at all. So it's kind of like if you really like a certain song and it happens to be a love song, they'll read into that oh, she must love me or he must love me because they love that love song. That they do sort of use that sort of stuff as it's that immaturity coming through once again. They're reading too much into little things that don't mean anything. Okay, they just be aware that this person probably does. They'll hear a song and they'll think that you wrote it for them, and really, it's just your favorite song at the moment. Okay, so that's something there as well. Finding out the truth crushed me. So that's coming through that, that they are still struggling with some past elements as well. They are still, feeling crushed from some stuff that's happened to them in the past. They haven't really dealt with that ending for a lot of those Libras there. All right, so that's what we have for Libra. You are more than welcome to check people's other placements as well if you do know them. Okay, but we will move on over to Scorpio. Hello, how are we today? Just looking at Scorpios and their red flags. Okay, so what are Scorpio's red flags? Scorpio's red flags, please. Okay, so pretty straightforward message I'm getting from these cards here. We do have the ring, okay, but it has actually come out with the mouse. All right, so that's actually talking about a past relationship that this person is still very muchly, it's very current in this person's energy, even though it's a past relationship. So this doesn't necessarily have to be a past love relationship. It could be, a relationship for this Scorpio within their family system or within friends and those sorts of things as well. But this particular relationship that they're holding on to from the past, it is still sort of eating away at them, and it's kind of making them very armored up against anything else. We do have the beetle there, and the beetle does sort of show us, that that shell, that external shell of protection that they've put around themselves. It does also show us struggling with teamwork. So partnerships are actually a bit of a struggle for this person. They are, very muchly of that mindset of, if I only look after myself, no one can sort of crush me. Whereas it's all stemming from this past relationship. They're just got their guard up, and they're not really allowing themselves to show their true selves with that, and really struggling with working as a team. Okay, so they may find it very difficult to take somebody else's needs and wants on board. They're very focused on their own wants and needs rather than working as a team together. They do sort of work very independently. Okay, but we'll have a look at their hidden truths. Scorpio's hidden truths. Hidden truth of Scorpio. Yeah, so I want to tell you how I feel. So once again, yes, this person really struggles to actually, show their true selves, let those wings out. They're too guarded. They're very, very guarded against letting anyone close to their emotions, and letting anyone know how they truly feel. They may act strong and tough and armored up, but they deep down, they do have feelings, obviously, but they're very unwilling to share those feelings. They want to tell you how they feel, but they cannot. Okay, it's a big struggle for this person to be honest about their feelings. I'm afraid to contact you. So what's flagging out the most about that is they are afraid. Okay, they are afraid of these feelings. They are afraid that whatever's happened here in this past relationship is going to happen again. All right, so they are very, very afraid to share those feelings, and they are afraid. It's that fear. They've just got this really strong, overwhelming fear that things that have happened to them in the past may happen again. And with that other card there, they're probably, very reluctant to even tell you what they've gone through in the past with past relationships. So how are you supposed to even know, what they're afraid of? Because it is just giving me that vibe that, they're not very, they're not showing how this past connection has actually affected them so much, but it has, and they're sort of not sharing their feelings and their fears with you. They're just holding them tight and just allowing themselves to be fearful that it might happen again. So for in that sort of example, if someone has cheated on somebody, they are very fearful in their next relationship that they're going to be cheated on again, and it's that kind of thing, that whatever's happened in their past relationship, they're afraid of that happening again. So it's kind of like they don't even want to talk about it, because it's going, they feel like, if I talk about it, then it's going to happen. Like, yeah. So this person really needs to open up, is what I'm getting from that Scorpio. They're very closed off with, but that's something that does occur over time. I feel that over time, and with that teamwork as well, with that teamwork card coming out, showing them that you're part of the team is actually going to help, let their defenses down a little bit, and forcing them somehow to work as a team with you. So those team building exercises that you have to do with jobs and whatnot, that they may actually be really useful to you with this Scorpio. Okay. All right. But make sure you check other placements if you know them. But we'll move on over to Sagittarius. Okay. What are Sagittarius's red flags? Sagittarius, what are their red flags? Okay, so getting an interesting message here. Firstly, I've got the dog. Okay, so that does talk about issues of loyalty. This person struggles with, placing importance on this connection. They a lot of the time when I see the dog, this is that energy of someone who really puts their friends first rather than their own relationships. They'll go and hang out with the friends rather than spend quality time at home. They may be struggle with being loyal in general, you know, so not just with the friends issue, but I do feel as though this person really does place a lot of importance on their friendship group rather than other connections in their life. Okay, so you kind of get that mentality of that bros before hoes mentality with this sort of person, regardless of gender. Okay, fit that as necessary, but yeah, it's that kind of, oh, I'd rather go hang out with the boys, or I'd rather go hang out with my girlfriends than spend time with you, and it leaves you feeling that this person has no loyalty to you and this connection. We also do see here the hourglass as well as the clouds. So this is where the very interesting message comes through with this person's red flags. With the hourglass, they probably are very, very impatient. The hourglass is all about divine timing. So this person probably does try to, you know, they're pushy and they try to rush things. They struggle with the right timing. You know, they may be the sort of person that really says things at the wrong time, and or brings something up even when you're talking about other things, and their sense of timing is just off. Okay, so they may be sort of I'm just getting that they may be rushing into things quite a lot with things as well. But they're also a classic overthinker with the clouds coming out there as well. It's kind of like, and with the overthinking and the hourglass together, it's kind of like this person, you know, thinking, oh, there's not enough time. There's too much time. It can go both ways. It's kind of like this person is, you know, on one hand, they're sort of saying, oh, I don't need to spend time with you now. We've got all the time in the world. But then in other aspects, they're saying, oh, there's not enough time. We've got to rush into this. So it's kind of, they're kind of using time in a very weird kind of manner here. It's kind of, they're placing their importance on the wrong timings. So it's kind of like, you know, the things that they should be focusing on spending more time, they're not, and the things that they need to be spending less time, they're spending more time on. If that kind of makes sense, they're putting their time into the wrong things. They're spending too much time overthinking as well with that clouds energy there. You know, spending too much time overthinking things rather than actually doing the things. You know, less action. Like, they're not very action oriented. They're very much up in their head, thinking too much about things, and then allowing themselves to get anxious about things that haven't even happened yet. All right, so this person is a very, you know, very up in their head, and they probably do stress out quite a lot about things that haven't even happened yet. You know, especially with that time card there, that divine timing card. It's kind of like they're worried this will happen and that will happen, but if they haven't happened, there's no point worrying about them. So it's kind of like a very odd message there as this person's red flags. It's something to do with the way that they rush certain things, but then they take too long doing other things, and then they worry about things that haven't even happened rather than worrying about things that already are happening. So it's kind of like, you know, if there's a problem within the connection, they're not facing that. They're facing problems that might happen a year from now, rather than putting their attention on the things that are current. This person's sense of time is a bit, they may be someone who also is just very, very late to places as well. They might, you know, you might go on a date and this person shows up an hour late and things like that as well. That just might just be part of who they are. They're very late to everything. It feels like they're always a step late to the party. Yeah. Okay. Sagittarius is hidden truth. Hidden truth of Sagittarius. I left when I saw you with someone. So yeah, once again, this person jumps to conclusions, and they're worrying about things that haven't even happened yet. So, you know, it's that kind of, I feel like this is more of an example to show us what this person is like. That it's kind of like they'll see you down the street talking to somebody and they'll think, oh, you must be in another relationship, oh, they're cheating on me, and they'll jump to some sort of conclusion, and then they'll be like, that's it, we're breaking up because, you were talking to so and so. And it's like, that was just some random dude asking me the time. It's that kind of vibe. Like, they'll just jump to these conclusions, and they're worried about things that haven't even happened yet, and so it's leading them to jump to conclusions, and that they're ready to sort of leave at the drop of a hat. Worry. So yeah, just be wary of this person. You know, watching you with other people, because they may jump to conclusions about your interactions with other people. Okay. And I wish I had treated you better. So already this person is, wishing that they knew how to treat you better. They know that their current energy is not the right way to be treating you. And they're already worried about that and how that's going to play out in the future. So, but they're not changing it. They're just wishing that they would be treating you better than they are. That's bizarre. So they know they're doing something wrong, but they're not doing anything to change it. They're just thinking about, overthinking about what that's going to lead to, but they're not actually doing anything about right now and actually changing that behavior. So that's a bit odd. A bit odd. Okay. I feel like that'll resonate for those of you who are dealing with that Sagittarius. And I can't really feel any way to overcome that. That's something that I feel that they need to overcome themselves, unfortunately. Maybe just present that to them, that this is what you're doing. Yeah, but you're more than welcome to check this person's other placements if you do know them. But we'll move over to Capricorn. Okay, what are Capricorn's red flags? What are Capricorn's red flags? Okay. Firstly, we have the feminine coming out, all right? So I'm just getting some odd energy here from these Capricorns. It kind of feels like this person is too nurturing. Like, overwhelmingly feel like they need to well, that's a pretty common Capricorn trait, to be honest. It's like, because it's got to do with their nurturing and the way they look after things. They're very, I feel, controlling. I do feel it's a bit controlling. Like, they feel like they need to take care of everything and everyone. So they're over nurturing. They're trying to take too much care of everyone. It's coming through as a little bit controlling, which is definitely a Capricorn trait anyway. They're probably quite emotional as well with that feminine energy. They probably do sort of tend to react emotionally quite a lot. All right. I'm also seeing the ruins here, which is bringing me a very interesting energy that these Capricorns, if you're dealing with a Capricorn, I don't know that this is going to resonate for everybody, okay? But I do feel as though a lot of these Capricorns, one of their biggest red flags is that they only see the ruins of things rather than the potential to rebuild. They can only see how broken it is, rather than how to fix, like how it can be fixed. So this Capricorn, for a lot of these Capricorns, this is actually talking about, trauma in their past, that still is sort of leaving them feeling emotionally ruined. So there may be some, I am just feeling that for a couple of these Capricorns, there's some deep stuff. Okay. I'm getting ruined childhoods here. Some of these Capricorns have experienced some pretty intense trauma, and it's ruined the way they deal with emotions, and it's kind of like this Capricorn needs to be shown how to rebuild, or how to, it feels like there's some, fix the broken pieces, that they can be fixed. It kind of feels like these Capricorns, once something's broken, they feel like it can't be fixed, even if it can. All right. So these Capricorns do sort of feel like once something is in ruins, that's it. There's no coming back from that, but that it's ancient history. Once it's ruined, it's ruined, and there's no fixing it. So they're not even sort of looking at the ways to fix something. They're kind of happy to, well, not happy to, but they're kind of just leaving things broken in shatters, rather than attempting to rebuild or fix things. They can only see the ruins. They can't see, the potential of that to be rebuilt. Okay. Because we do also have the moth energy. So yeah, they have trouble finding the light, at the end of the, you can see there in that ruins card, we do have that sun at the end of the, looks like a bit of a tunnel, at the end of the tunnel, that light at the end of the tunnel. So they have trouble seeking the light. Okay, so, we all know moths are drawn to the light, whereas this Capricorn really does sort of struggle finding the lighter side of things, and with their emotions being so heavy, they do feel drawn to more negative emotion, and they really struggle transforming things that are broken or in ruin. They really struggle transforming that and metamorphosizing those things into something new, something better, something fixed. Okay, so they're really sort of having trouble flapping their wings. They really do have trouble transforming these things, especially any negative emotions that they carry. They really struggle to transform those emotions into positive emotions, and actually find the light in this darkness. They can only sort of see the darkness. So I do feel as though for a lot of these Capricorns, this is all within themselves too. So they're looking at themselves as though, their emotions are in ruin. They are, a ruin of a person, that they are not worthy of transforming, of finding the light, of having light in their lives. It does feel as though this is heavy on their self-worth, with those feelings there, that this Capricorn really does struggle feeling worthy of, the happy stuff. They're more accepting of the negative stuff. They feel as though, that the negative is to be expected, whereas the positive, they really struggle feeling as though they can have it at all. All right. So they are actually a very sensitive, very emotionally sensitive Capricorns. Okay, which is a common misconception about Capricorns. Okay, Capricorns are actually very sensitive. You just got to get to know them and whatnot. All right, but the hidden truth of Capricorn. I wish I had have treated you better, and I wish things could be different. So both of these cards say I wish, I wish, I wish. So these Capricorns, they don't want these things to be in ruin. They don't want to treat themselves badly, but they don't know how to not do that. Okay, they only know how to treat themselves badly. It's kind of like they don't know how to love themselves. They don't know how to accept being loved. I wish things could be different. So this Capricorn, they've got a lot of want to be different and change this about themselves, but they don't know how. They don't know how to change it. They don't know how to be different. That's all they know. It's kind of like, especially too when I was picking up with that ruins card, that, you know, there may be some heavy traumas that this Capricorn's gone through, and they don't know how to overcome and actually think of themselves differently, or be different, and they don't know how to be positive. It's kind of like no one's ever shown them how to be loved and how to feel love for themselves. All right. That's a hard one. Okay, because that feels like it is to do a lot with that, you know, trauma for a lot of these Capricorns, as well as, you know, that deep down self-worth. So yeah. Okay, but you're more than welcome to check their other placements if you do know them. But for now, we will move on over to Aquarius. Okay, what are Aquarius's red flags? This Aquarius, what's their red flags? Just had that for Capricorn. So some of these Capricorns may be on the cusp, because that is reading similar. So they may be on the cusp of Capricorn there. But this Aquarian, firstly, we have the feminine coming through. So the feminine is a very emotional character. Okay, so this person is probably very sort of emotional, reactive to emotional stuff. They get very emotional at the drop of a hat, kind of a vibe I'm getting there. But what's actually happened, this person, you know, the interesting thing here is, you know, we do try to, the feminine does try to nurture quite heavily as well. So this person may actually be an over nurturer, try to control, you know, looking after others. Rather than looking after themselves. They may be sort of focusing on looking after everyone and everything around them. It does come through a little bit controlling, you know, with that. So they may be also, you know, unable to nurture their own emotions and look after their own emotions, and therefore very reactive when you know, something upsets them. They're very reactive to the frustration and the anger, without actually, you know, stopping and taking the whole story on board. They'll just react rather than, you know, think things through, or whatever. But this is kind of left this person. We do see here the bear. So we do sort of see that this person does quite often react in a very angry, defensive kind of way. This is how this person protects themselves. Okay, the bear is a very protective, nurturing energy once again, but you know, they're so used to taking care of everyone else that what happens is, if you get too close to this person, they'll rip your face off. They will, you know, come at you and roar their little Aquarius face off. Okay, because the bear as a red flag, very, very aggressive. You know, this person has very, very strong overprotectiveness going on, so they will be a little bit defensive, you know, like I said, emotionally, from a very emotional place. They will react out of emotion very, very quickly, and to the point where they act very defensively, and they maybe even very aggressively. Okay, sometimes that's like a very, very muchly like just a roar, like they'll yell and scream and whatnot, but this can actually talk about physical aggression as well. All right. And we do also see the tree. All right, so this person really struggles to be able to see the need for them to grow. Okay, they struggle taking care of themselves. We saw with that feminine that they, someone who's probably over nurturing, and they nurture everyone else and look after everyone else and every other, you know, they want to look after every little thing and every little person around them, but they really struggle looking after themselves, and even seeing that they may need to grow as a person, that they may need to, you know, look within themselves and face a bit of self-growth, especially when it comes to this aggression, you know, because that bear is actually coming through as a pretty aggressive little bear. So even if there are only little, I keep thinking little bear, but it's like that that little thing that makes so much noise. It's what I'm kind of getting from this Aquarius, that they may look innocent and sweet, but their roar is quite loud. Okay, so just be aware of that this person may be prone to aggression or aggressive behavior, and not being able to see where they need to fix that, and their self-growth and their own knowledge and stuff. When it comes to that, they may be very defensive when it comes to people questioning their knowledge as well. So sometimes that comes through with those two cards. They may sort of get a bit defensive when, if you were to question their wisdom or their knowledge, they may be quite defensive about, I'm always right, what are you talking about, is what I'm getting there. The hidden truth of Aquarius. What is the hidden truth of Aquarius? I bury myself in work to forget you. So this person takes on too much. Once again, we're seeing that, they're trying to look after every little person, every little thing. They take on way too much. They, they try to distract themselves from themselves. The forget you that they're talking about here is themselves, that to forget that they need to actually grow and change and whatnot. They're more than happy to boss everyone around and tell everyone that, oh, you need to change this about yourself. But then when it comes to themselves, they're not sort of, they're trying to distract themselves from the work that they need to do in order to grow as a person. And they take on way too much. They really take on too much of other people's stuff. All right. Sometimes I lay awake thinking about you. So some of these people, they may really sort of struggle with insomnia and that sort of a stuff. But sometimes I stay awake thinking about you, that they're probably very prone to overthinking as well. But they do. Deep down, they know that they need to grow as a person, because that's what they're trying to distract themselves from. They do deep down know about that, and sometimes late at night they're like, oh, maybe I should do this and this and think about myself and blah. But then the next day they bury in themselves in other people's business all over again. Okay, so deep down they are aware that there is some change necessary within their self-growth in the way that they actually take care of themselves, but they're too busy taking care of everyone else and every other thing around them. Okay. More than welcome to check this person's other placements if you do know them. Okay, but Pisces. Pardon. Okay. Looking at Pisces and their red flags. What are Pisces red flags, please? What are Pisces red flags? Okay, so firstly we've got the octopus, and this particular card does come through in quite a few different ways. But the things I'm getting from this today for Pisces is the keyword camouflage, all right, and also multitasking. Okay, so so I'm getting that, with the camouflage thing, this Pisces, they're wearing a bit of a mask quite a lot of the time, especially with the way that they communicate. We do have the letter there as well, so that does straight away show us that there's an issue with the way that this Pisces communicates. Okay, so I do kind of feel that, the way that they communicate is a bit of a mask to cover up their true feelings. They may say one thing but mean another. They may have trouble talking about their feelings altogether, have trouble communicating their deep true self, because you know, they are camouflaging who they really are. They're camouflaging their feelings, and you know, they may be saying that they feel a certain way when really they actually feel a different way slightly. So there's, you know, and they're trying to sort of blend in and go with the crowd that, oh, everyone feels happy about this, so I feel happy about this too, even if they don't. You know, so they're kind of trying to camouflage and blend in a little bit when it comes to the way that they're communicating. They're trying to communicate that they you know, blend in with what other people want them to be, or how they think other people perceive them. They do try to kind of blend in with that a little bit. And then with the multitasking thing, I do feel as though a couple of these Pisces, you know, whether or not they have actual ADHD, or whether they're just, you know, that sort of, those sorts of behaviors. Sometimes this Pisces may be, you know, they're dipping all their little hands all over the place, and they can't stay focused on one thing. They're multitasking all the time. It's like they're doing 20 different things all at once, instead of focusing on one thing. So even when they're having conversations with people, they may be sort of talking about multiple things all at once, rather than focusing on the one thing that they know they kind of need to focus on. So they may really struggle with communication in that sense as well, that they're sort of multitasking. They'll talk about everything except for the thing that they feel truly deep down. Okay, so they if you're asking them, how do you feel, they might tell you, well, this happened and this happened and this happened and this happened, but they never are actually answering how I actually feel. They're just, you know, it's kind of like camouflaging the answer with so many other answers that you forget what the original question was. All right, so that I'm kind of getting that vibe with the Pisces there as well. But what I'm also seeing here, we do have the cross. Okay, so this Pisces is carrying quite a lot of burdens. All right, they do have a lot of burdens that they, you know, it's like this heavy weight on their shoulders. They feel as though they're dragging this cross around with them all the time. Everywhere they go, they've got this heavy load on their shoulders, and they're, once again, with that struggle in communication, they struggle to tell people that they're, you know, they struggle to communicate that they, you know, have these burdens, let alone that they need help carrying these burdens. Okay, so they're carrying the world on their shoulders, and not telling anyone that they're carrying all these burdens on themselves, and you know, and unable to share the load, so to speak. And you know, a lot of these Pisces, it may be like some spiritual or religious burdens as well. So in the sense that, you know, they may be camouflaging, you know, what they truly believe, you know, for the sake of the conversation or the relationship or whatever. But it's a burden to them. They're carrying their spirituality as though it's a burden as well. So it's kind of like, you know, someone who goes to church every week, but they don't really believe, and they're you know, they're carrying that burden within them, but they're still trying to go to church and you know, communicate that they're, oh, you know, blend in with the crowd, because everyone in town goes to church. They feel, or everyone within their family all goes to this one church. They feel as though they just kind of have to, even though they're carrying it as a bit of a burden that they don't actually believe in that. You know, so that's just kind of the example I'm using as well. But it does come across as a spiritual load that this person is carrying, as well as, you know, mental load. They're carrying quite a lot on their shoulders, and they're really unable to communicate that with many people, I feel. All right, but Pisces, what is Pisces' hidden truth? The hidden truth of Pisces. I feel you leaving me behind. So yeah, they're fearful of being left behind. That's why they're trying to, blend in with the crowd and camouflage themselves in with what everyone else feels, because they kind of feel as though, that if they don't do that, that they're going to be, somehow behind everybody else. That if they don't just shoulder these burdens and keep on, that they're going to fall behind. And so it's kind of that, comparing themselves to others, and not allowing themselves to just be who they are. They're kind of feeling that, oh, if so and so got over that within X amount of time, then I need to get over that within X amount of time. If so and so is able to go and do this and that, then I have to be able to go and do this and that, rather than just being who they truly are and doing things in their own time frame. They're feeling, pressured to keep up with the Joneses, kind of a vibe there. But more so in an emotional, I feel that's more emotional. All right. And I look for you everywhere. Okay, so this is an interesting energy. Okay. Okay. This is a very random message I'm getting from this card. I look for you everywhere. This isn't about a person. This is about sorry, Pisces. If my Pisces best friend is watching and cross watching, geez, I hope she doesn't take offense, because I feel like it would resonate for her a little bit too. But it's kind of that scatterbrainedness where you like lose things all the time. You know how sometimes there's people that they always seem to be losing something, like their house keys, or those that they misplace things all the time, and they're constantly looking for something. They're like, I can't find this today. The next day, I can't find that. I've lost this. I don't know where I put that. I'm sorry. That's kind of funny. It's just coming through as that scatterbrainedness of they're constantly losing things. So that doesn't feel very deep. That's kind of a superficial kind of thing. But they are a little bit scatterbrained, and they misplace things a lot. Okay, so very interesting. All right, but you're more than welcome to check this person's other placements if you do know them. All right, but we'll move on over. Just make sure I've got our timestamps for Aries. Okay. What are Aries red flags? The red flags of Aries. Aries red flags. Okay, one just came straight on out. Aries red flags. Oh my goodness. Okay. Aries red flags. Firstly, we have the child. Okay, so this Aries is probably quite immature. Maybe just with the way that they approach love, they may have a very childlike sense of what love even is. They maybe don't understand it in a grown, healthy, mature way. So within relationships, it does come across as this Aries acting quite immaturely, and sort of not being ready for things. Especially too, this can also talk about, one of their red flags being that they really struggle to start new things, and like start new adventures, and find ways to, grow within a connection, and find that new beginning, and grow. They're kind of stuck in one mindset, and they really struggle to grow, and change, and bring in new elements into the connection just within themselves. It's kind of like that immaturity. They're stuck in that one sort of mindset, and that one phase when it comes to love and relationships. We also have the fox. Okay, so straight away the fox is one of my biggest red flag cards, and it's pretty straightforward with what this is all about. Some of the, I don't feel as though all of these Aries are players, but some of them definitely are players. They may, even if they're not a player, they may come across as a player. They may not actually be a player type energy, where they're, playing the field, but for a lot of them, they are players, okay? But this is really someone who kind of sells themselves to be more than they are, and they kind of say what they think you want to hear rather than the honest truth of, so this is someone who may tell you certain things, but they're only telling you that because they know that that's what you want to hear rather than their actual true feelings on the subject or on the thing, the feeling. All right. So, but yeah, some of them, they definitely are players. They only care about themselves. That player energy. They only want to get their fox off and no one else's fox off. Like they only care about their own needs. They don't really care about anyone else's needs. They just care about themselves, which is that player type energy where, they'll say what they have to say to get you in bed, but when it comes down to it, they only actually care about, themselves and getting themselves off. And then once that's been and done, that okay, cool, bye. They're quick to run away and hide too with that fox energy. They usually are someone that, they'll run back to their foxhole quick. As soon as they're done with the situation and they've gotten what they want out of a situation, they'll disappear. Because like think about a fox in the wild there. As soon as they, they'll come and get the food, or they'll come and steal the chicken, but then as soon as you go out, and they're gone. You can't find them. They're gone. They're long gone. They're hidden. They'll disappear so quick. Even if you catch a glimpse of them, before you know it, they're gone. With all your chickens are gone. And this foxes, you can't see it, can't find it anywhere. All right. We also have the crossroads. Okay, so this person really struggles making clear decisions. Once again, it's coming back to that immaturity and that new beginnings and new adventures that they really struggle actually choosing which way they're going in life. They do struggle making decisions as well. So it's kind of like if you ask this Aries to, do you want black or do you want blue? They will bolt. They'll bolt rather than try to decide on a colour. They will just bolt on out of there. It's like, do you want chicken or fish for dinner? And they'll be like, I just don't want dinner. And they'll bolt. I'm out of here. I don't need dinner. Bye. Rather than having to make a choice, they will run. So it's kind of like, don't put this Aries on a spot. But we'll have a look at their hidden truths as well. Okay. Aries. What are Aries' hidden truths? What are Aries' hidden truths? I replay our conversations over and over. I remember every detail of that day. I'm kind of getting here. Aries will tell you that they don't remember. I don't remember. They'll be like, what is it? I don't recall. I'm just trying to think of it. There was a saying, I don't recall. I can't remember. Like they can't remember. I can't remember what happened. I can't remember what you said. I can't remember what I said. But they do. They do. This is an overthinker. This is someone who overthinks every little thing that happened. That things that were said. They replay them big time. But they'll turn around and they'll tell you, "Oh, I have no idea. I can't remember. I don't recall what I said. Sorry, I don't." They'll I'm getting here that there's there's some Aries out there that they'll feign ignorance. They'll say, I don't remember, to avoid having to take responsibility, so it's kind of that thing of, I don't remember what I said, just because they don't want to actually say, oh yeah, I did say that, I'm sorry. Rather than say, I'm sorry I said that, they'll say, oh, I don't remember saying that. And I'm getting the sense too that these Aries, they will gaslight themselves into believing that they did never say that. So they'll replay these conversations without them saying that, and then they'll believe it. It's kind of, I feel like they'll gaslight themselves into believing that they didn't even say it in the first place, and so that they can sort of be like, no, didn't say that. What are you talking about? Just to avoid having to ask for forgiveness, or having to apologize, or having to take responsibility. They will totally be like, I don't remember, but they do. They know exactly. All right, they're an overthinker. They know exactly, and they've got a good memory, and they do know the full details of that conversation, and they'll they remember, but they'll say that they don't. All right. So that's what we have for Aries. You're more than welcome to check this person's other placements if you do know them. All right, but we'll move on over to Taurus. Okay, what are Taurus's red flags? Taurus and their red flags. Let's have a look. Okay, firstly we have the coffin. Okay, so the coffin is all about death and rebirth, things ending and then restarting new things. So this person may be in a cycle of they may move on very quickly. They'll end one thing and then move straight on to the next. But overwhelmingly, I'm kind of getting with this person that they're struggling. They do struggle when things have ended. They struggle to actually close the lid on that and move on from things when they've ended, or they've yeah, just like past relationships and stuff. They may still emotionally hold on to the ending and the way that things have ended, very, very strongly, because we do have the moon there as well. So that does talk about a lot of emotional sensitivity. So when things end, this person really, really holds on to that emotionally, and they may sort of still hold on to the emotions from the ending, and stop themselves from finding new beginnings, new emotions in the future, because they're still sort of so stuck on the endings of things, the way that things have ended, the death of a situation, those sorts of things. They really sort of take it to heart, so to speak. And they they'll I find that this Taurus probably does struggle to, once something is over, they really sort of struggle to see the positives that they've learnt from that thing, because they're still, they still get so emotionally wrapped up in the way that it ended that they forget to look back at, for example, if it was a long-term relationship, they get stuck on the way that ended, and they hold on to the emotion of the way that ended and the ending of that, rather than, the whole duration before that. Where obviously any relationship, good and bad. So they're forgetting all the good things. They forget all the good things, and they get wrapped up in that ending and the way that things have ended, and they sort of hold that emotion going on in and hold it in a sort of immature way. We do see, once again, this card does talk about struggling with new beginnings. Okay, so they do really struggle to end things completely. They hold on to things quite strongly, and struggle to actually move on completely into a brand new beginning. They're kind of immature about the way that they're looking at the endings of things. Okay, so this is the sort of energy that you sort of see when people, even though they may not have any actual feelings for the person anymore, they have a lot of negative feelings about the way that person mistreated them at the end or whatnot. Okay, they kind of look at the past relationships in a negative, immature way, rather than dealing with that maturely and moving on into the new. They're focusing on the end of that. All right, so we'll have a look at the hidden truth. Taurus, the hidden truth of Taurus. Yeah, finding out the truth crushed me. So yeah, once again, with those endings, it crushes them emotionally. The ending, the way that things end with past relationships, really crushes them emotionally, and they hold on to that feeling of being crushed, rather than, all the good times that they may have had in the past with that person. I'm so attracted to you. So this person may actually. It's not to the extent of being a bit of a player, but they may be very attracted to other people. They may sort of be somebody who is just very, very aware of attraction. So some of these Taurus may be very looks focused, attraction focused. They may sort of lose attraction quickly to people, but it kind of feels like kind of that feeling of like um the sort of person that would be, asking for hall passes. They have no qualms in walking down the street and being like, oh, he's cute, she's hot, and you're standing there right beside them, like, so there may be sort of someone who does value attraction strongly, and they maybe are immature about recognizing that, when they're in a relationship or a connection, that a lot of people believe that you should be attracted to just the one person, and not talk about your attraction to other people, and that sort of thing. Whereas this Taurus is still very aware of attraction, and they may be very attraction based, so a lot of the time that does talk about physical attraction. Okay, I'm not seeing any cards saying that they, are going to act on those attractions, but that they may be very attraction based, and find a lot of other people attractive even while they're in a connection already. They may still be sort of looking around. Okay. That's what I have for Taurus, but you're more than welcome to check this person's other placements if you do know them. But we'll move on over to Gemini. Okay, Gemini, what are Gemini's red flags? What are Gemini's red flags? Okay, so this is pretty specific. Okay, so if you are someone who's watching because you are, in a connection with a Gemini, or something along those lines, what I'm seeing here, I do have the Garden. Okay, so there's something about the way that you met this Gemini is a red flag. Okay, so something about the way you met, yeah, I'm that's kind of all I'm getting. Um, it is a social card, so this Gemini may be, willing to look at other proposals, other invitations, meet other people, um, entertain other people. But I'm feeling for majority of these Geminis that it's got to do with the way that you met this Gemini. Um, there's something, there was some, I'm feeling it's very specific, that there's something about the way that they meet people, the way that they show themselves when they first meet people. Um, yeah, it's not giving me anything specific, but I feel like it's going to be a little bit different for everyone that's dealing with a Gemini. But look back to how you met this Gemini, and find the red flag, because there's a red flag that they would have displayed upon first meeting them. All right. We are also seeing the beetle. All right. So that does talk about this Gemini being quite, armored up and protective of themselves, protective of their inner, vulnerabilities. They're they're put on this hard exterior, but they're not showing the soft, their beautiful wings. Basically, they're all pincers and hard shell, rather than allowing you to see the softer side of them. They're very sort of hard exterior type person. It also does talk about them struggling with teamwork. So this person really does find it hard to, work as a team, even just within a connection. They're probably very standalone and very independent, and really do struggle to sort of think of others, take on board the needs of both of you rather than just themselves. So they really do struggle working as a team, as well. But I'm also seeing the candle. Okay, so straight away that's a red flag in itself, because it does sort of let me know that there is an old flame that they're holding on to. They are sort of unwilling to let this go, this past flame, this is a past love connection, an old flame, and they're really holding on to that. You may not even know about that because of that hard exterior, that beetle. But I'm feeling that for some of you, this is going back to that when you first met this person. I feel like for some of them, when you first met them, they told you about this old flame, and you thought that time would change that, and it hasn't. They're still holding that inside. They're just not talking about it anymore. It's still burning within them. All right, so just be aware of that. Okay, that they are still holding on to a past love connection. All right, because that does talk about some sort of like eternal love. Yeah. Hidden truth of Gemini. Yeah, you don't know how hard it was to let you go. So they haven't let this person go. This past flame, they have not let this person go. They still hold love for this past person. Okay. I left when I saw you with someone. So this is kind of that vibe of this Gemini will sort of presume the worst. If they see you talking to somebody else, they're just going to, jump to conclusions and presume the worst, that you must be cheating on me because I saw you talking to that person. And it's like they were just asking me the time. Like, I don't even know them. But they're going to jump. They jump to conclusions when they see you with other people, and they just presume that you're, they're not going to actually sort of listen to reason. They're just going to jump to their own conclusions when it comes to that sort of stuff. I left when I saw you with someone. So this is a Gemini who is, they're going to, it's kind of that vibe of I'll leave you before you can leave me. They're fearful that you'll find somebody else. So they will, if they feel as though you're looking elsewhere, they will leave and find, elsewhere for themselves, because they will jump to conclusions. Okay, so that's what I'm getting for Gemini. Feel free to check this person's other placements if you do know them. But for now, we will jump on over to Cancer. Okay, what are Cancer's red flags? What are Cancer's red flags? Cancer's red flags. I really enjoy these red flag readings. Tomorrow I might actually do, for our next all signs, I might actually do a green flags reading. Okay. Whoosh. Okay, this Cancer. Cancer's red flags. Firstly, we have the rose. Okay, so that shows us that this person really does struggle with the idea of love, and they struggle seeing the beauty. They only see the thorns on romantic stuff. They're very wrapped up in, you know, the way that they look at love is it's kind of like that vibe of love only hurts me. Love doesn't treat me well. Love just hurts me. Um, you know, the rose is a very giving sort of energy, but they don't really perceive the love that is given to them. They only, it's like they'll, it's like if you do something unloving towards this Cancer, they will get stuck on that. You may do one little thing that they perceive as unloving, and they'll get stuck on that. Whereas, you know, they'll totally seem to not even recognize the 20 things that you've done that are loving behaviors towards them. They can really only see the thorns. They really struggle, you know, accepting love even, and like receiving love. They kind of do struggle with that. And they do only sort of see the negative. It really feels like they're like, love just makes me bleed. Love just hurts me. It doesn't, that's kind of all they can see when it comes to connections, is that it's just going to hurt me. It's just going to hurt me. It's just going to hurt me. We are also getting the Void. Okay, so this person is kind of like, you know, with the Void energy, it's kind of like it's kind of like, especially too with that rose, it's like you'll be giving this Cancer love and giving them love and giving them love and giving them love, and they'll just suck it up and suck it up and suck it up. And I feel like they really struggle, you know, returning things like that, like returning love. They, once again, they can only see the negatives, and the hurt that love gives them. They they're like a black hole when it comes to love. It's kind of like this person may be someone who takes and takes and takes and doesn't know how to give in return. And I feel like a lot of these Cancers are probably actually prone to severe depression and things like that as well. It's kind of like they just drain your energy. Just being with them drains your energy quite a lot. Um, because like we also have the Whip, okay? So this person just likes to create drama and trouble. Like, this is the first sign I've gotten such a dark kind of message for. But yeah, that's what it is. It's with that darkness, that's all they can see. They can't see the light. They just suck in all the light and only emit darkness. And it's kind of like, it just causes so much trouble and tension. Like, they're a troubled person. They have so much trouble and tension within them that, you know, like, I kind of really hope that this doesn't resonate for anyone dealing with the Cancer, because this energy is, it's like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. I don't know how to overcome this energy. It's just trouble. It's just trouble. With that Whip card there too, they probably, you know, it's that self-flagellation stuff as well. They beat themselves up over everything, and it's kind of like that victim consciousness, that all they see is the trouble, all they see is the fighting, all they see is the bad, um, you know, the tension and the stress, and punishing themselves and feeling unworthy and whatnot. But that's all they see. They don't know how to escape that black hole. If that resonates, personally, I would, like, you know, obviously free will exists, guys, but personally I would steer clear from that Cancer if that resonates for the Cancer you're in a connection with. This Cancer's hidden truth of Cancer. I regret lying to you. So as a hidden truth, this is that they know they've lied to you. They know they've lied to you. I don't know. I don't know that they actually do regret it though. They know they've lied to you. I know they do regret it. It's kind of like they're so used to living in this black hole and you know, fighting themselves and punishing themselves, that the only way they know is to lie, and they don't know how to be truthful about their. I feel like for a lot of them this is about their true feelings, and they lie about their true feelings, they lie to themselves as well. um, we will be together again. This person, once again, with that void energy, it's kind of like this person is holding on to your energy. So even if you're not in a current connection with this person, they are attached to your energy, and they, you know, we'll be together again. This person is not letting you go. You know, they won't let you go. Um, they're going to hold on to this, and even if it's just on an energetical level, um, they're going to try to, you know, to the worst case scenario, they're going to try to find ways to, you know, bring you back in by lying. You, I'm sorry. That's not. That's a negative attachment. I'm sorry. Um, yeah, that feels like a toxic connection. To be honest, like I said, I really hope that doesn't resonate. To be honest, um, check the person's other placements if you know them. Because yeah, if that resonated for you, that is a toxic connection. All right, and be very aware of that. Like with that void card, I feel like for some of you that Cancer may even be sort of doing something on an energy level to hold you to them, if that makes sense. Okay, but we'll move on over to Leo. Okay, Leo. What are Leo's red flags? What are Leo's red flags? Okay, firstly we have the ship. Okay, so this Leo is like unwilling to get off their butt and move. They're unwilling to travel any distance, whether it's a physical distance or a metaphorical distance. They're unwilling to lose ground. Basically, they're going to stand their ground and not give in any distance. Even if that's just like, you know, emotional distance, they're not going to cover any ground. They're not going to start that journey. They're stuck in place. They're being held back from, you know, starting new journeys or adventures or taking any move or moving any movement. They're holding themselves back from movement. They're you know, they're not going to cover the distance between you. They're unwilling to travel to you. That you know, it feels like they're wanting you to do all the work rather than them having to do any work, having to travel any distance, having to, you know, cover any distance between the two of you. We also do have the void. So this person definitely is, you know, stuck in that black hole, no movement. They're unable to sort of see the light of you know, it feels like, you know, they're kind of like draining your energy a little bit as well. You know, just being around them because they're not willing to give, and they're not willing to allow any movement. They're very rigid in set in their ways and their path, and they're not willing to give. They're just going to take and take and take and make you give all the distance between the two of you, and they're just going to take and take and take, and they're not willing to move toward you, whereas they expect it, that they're pulling you towards them with that black hole there, that void card. But yeah, that can also just be on an energy level. All right. We also do have the dog. Okay, so this person does have some sort of loyalty issue, whether that's loyalty within the actual relationship. Because this is the card of friendship, I do quite often read this as a red flag, to do with this person, putting more loyalty on their friends or family than relationships that are important to them. So it's kind of that vibe of, bros before hoes, or I'll go hang out with the boys all day, regardless of gender. It's like my friends are more important to me than my relationship at home. That kind of a vibe. They're more loyal to other people than they are to you within this connection, and that definitely can be a bit of a problem, especially with that void card there too, because it feels like they will expect your loyalty, but they're not going to give you the same amount of loyalty in return. Once again, you need to give them the loyalty, the support, but they're not willing to, give that to you. They'll go and give that loyalty to their friends instead of you. All right. But we'll have a look at the hidden truth. Hidden truth of Leo. Hidden truth of Leo. I know that I crossed the line with you. So yeah, they're not willing to cross the line. They're not willing to give, and you need to put your boundaries down, but their boundaries do not need to move. I know that I crossed the line with you. They know they're pushing it. They know that their boundaries are pretty firm and they're not willing to compromise. They expect you to compromise, but they're not willing to compromise. It's like that line is set in the sand, and this Leo is not budging. Okay, they've got a circle drawn around themselves, and they're not stepping out of that circle for anything. But they expect you to step into the circle constantly. You have to come over to them and get out of your circle and come to their circle. But it also does talk about, I know that I crossed the line with you, that they know that they're unreasonable demands on you. Okay, they are aware that they're putting unreasonable demands on you. I remember every detail of that day. So yeah, they remember. They know. So they do definitely know, and they're very detail orientated as well. They very they're not going to overlook any small details. So the smallest little thing is going to set this Leo off, and they're going to put that line up again, and say, you cross my boundary, even if it's the tiniest little thing. They may have done the exact same thing to you like 20 times, and it's not an issue. But then as soon as you do that to them, it is an issue. And they remember, they know exactly what they're doing. Not that they know what they're doing, but they're aware. There is a level of self-awareness coming through with those cards. Okay, so they're quite aware that they're asking for more than they're giving, if that makes sort of sense. All right, but if you know this person's other placements, you are more than welcome to check their other placements, of course. All right, but moving on to Virgo. Okay, Virgo, what's Virgo's red flags? What are Virgo's red flags? Okay. So firstly, we do have the hourglass and the crossroads. Okay, so this does talk about divine timing and timing in general. So what we're seeing here too with the crossroads is all about choices and decisions. So this person takes too long to make decisions. They make rash decisions. So when it comes to their decision making, they make impulsive, rash decisions, but then other decisions they take too long and then they lose the choice. If that kind of makes sense, the sense of time is skewed. They if you say to this person, "What do you want for dinner? Do you want chicken or beef?" This person will be, "Oh, I'll think about it and I'll let you know." An hour later, "I'll think about it and I'll let you know. I'm not sure yet." And then you just go, like, "I'm just going to start cooking," and they don't know what they want until you've already made the meal, and then they go, "Oh, no, I wanted chicken, but you made beef," and it's like an hour past dinner time, and they're like, their timing is wrong with things, that with decisions, their timing is so out of it, and they're unable to make a decision in time. They're you know, I feel a lot of these Virgos struggle with time in general. They may be late to things all the time. They may be late or early. They may always be early or they may always be late, and they just struggle being on time. There's something off with their timing, and they'll ask you things at the weirdest times, at the when it's inappropriate and things like that. They'll ask you things like, you'll be at the grocery store and then they'll ask you something about something, a week ago, or just random things like that. Their sense of timing is off. But we also see, the choices and decisions. They struggle to make a clear choice, clear decisions. They struggle to even know what path to follow. But then we're also seeing that they make impulsive decisions as well. So it's like, if they're faced with an actual decision, they may leave it too late until there's no decision to be made anymore. Someone else makes the decision for them. But then, they'll be faced with a decision out of nowhere, and all of a sudden they make the wrong decision straight away, and they'll just follow some random impulse and make a stupid decision. So that they're making very impulsive, silly decisions. So this is the sort of energy that, someone that will do things without even thinking it through. But then when they do need to think something through, they won't, and they'll just leave it and they won't make the decision at all. We also see the feminine as well. So that's where I'm getting the impulsive decisions, because the feminine is very emotional and acting from emotion and reacting, from emotion. So a lot of their decisions, the impulsive decisions, are coming from sort of rash emotions. They're like, something will make them angry, and they will like have a big tantrum and throw and break, and then 5 minutes later they'll be like, "Oh, if I actually stop and think that through, that doesn't actually make me that angry. I know I acted rashly, like I acted out of anger, I acted out of whatever emotion." They make decisions from emotion, rather than thinking things through clearly. That's where the impulsive decisions come from. It's from emotional things. They'll act out of anger or frustration or sadness, and then 5 minutes later they're like, "Oh, maybe I made the wrong decision." So they're very impulsive when it comes to certain decisions, but then other decisions can't get a clear time frame out of this Virgo at all. Okay, hidden truth. Virgo's hidden truth. It's time for me to heal now. So once again, we're seeing that time reference. So this person is not taking the time they need to heal. They you know, for an example, as you know, if they broke up with somebody, they don't actually take the time that they need to heal from that breakup. They're straight on into the next relationship, and you know, they're not actually taking the time that they need to heal. They're acting rashly. They're like, oh, someone broke up with me, well, I'm going to go find someone else. It's a rash decision, and not allowing themselves the time to actually, you know, go through the motions and deal with the breakup. You know, so they act, once again, the timing this Virgo has is not ideal. We need to let each other go. So that lets us know that this person really struggles letting other people go, letting people from the past go. They may still be holding on to somebody from the past. They may be very aware they need to let that person go, you know, and they know that it's time for them to heal, but they're not taking the time to heal from that. Rather than that, they're just holding on to that past connection. Even though they know they need to let that go, they're still holding on to that and not taking the time to actually deal with that emotionally. So it looks like this, you know, this feminine may be talking about them not dealing with emotions as well, not deciding to not deal with the emotions, to not actually take the time to be emotional at all. All right, so that's what we have for Virgo. If you do know there are other placements, you are more than welcome to check them. Make sure you like and subscribe. I do super appreciate that. But hopefully I'll see you all again tomorrow. We will be doing the green flags tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that one as well. Okay, bye.